Hello everybody, Graveless here, coming to you with a relatively short video going over the mid-game tech tree. This is because my China game is getting pretty close to mid-game transition, and I thought, time to go over tech. Now to start off with, let's begin with what mid-game means. To me, mid-game in Terra Invicta means that you are in control of your orbits and beginning to start thinking about offensive operations against the aliens. The big thing that happens in mid-game is you need to scale up your space combat a lot, because this is the point where the aliens are going to start coming after you really hard. And soon enough, they're going to be getting their better weapons, their better drives, and the escalation spiral has begun. This is the you are either going to win or you're going to lose station of the game. So, let's talk about how you're going to win via technology. Similar to my early game tech video, I'm going to start off by talking about different categories. We're going to begin with council development. Your council development, honestly, pretty close to being done at this stage. Your 6th counselor slot and gaining access to all of the different orgs you might want are the most important things, and you got all of those in the early game. If you put them out to the mid-game, you're missing out on a fair bit of scaling that you could have gotten. But there are still a few technologies that matter. We're going to start out with one that is actually an early game tech that I have not grabbed in my save right now, which is cybernetics. Cybernetics gives you cybernetic implants. This allows you to spend $500 to improve a stat on each counselor once, with the exception of perception, or not perception, persuasion. That is the D&D and World of Darkness of me. So you spend $500, plus 1 investigation, plus 1 espionage, plus 1 security, plus 1 admin. Cybernetics also eventually upgrades to Mind and Machine and to get even more bonuses. Like, this caps out at +3 to all stats, or I think it's Mind and Machine. Cybernetic implant. Cyborg, yeah. Like, this will eventually cap out at +3 to all of your counselor stats. But if you've been following up on your actual, like, faction plot line, and get the phytoscenes tech, you gain access, depending on your faction, to a bonus to persuasion that is fantastic and absolutely worth it, and gives you, plus 18 CP cap, which is truly incredible. The other one that we should look for is, where neural engineering is, which is advanced neural networks. Yeah. But one thing that you may not know is that there is a tech over here, targeted biological warfare. This gives you singleton viruses. This is an incredible bonus to your assassination, and is the main way you deal with the fact that aliens with the second wave bonus and their salamander orgs start hitting 25 security really quickly, and you stop being able to assassinate them. You run into that problem, targeted biological warfare is your solution to this problem. It'll still cost you a fair number of ops, but at this point you have the ops to spend on it. Moving on to the easy advancements, we have our space infrastructure, where the main two are colony habs and ring habs. They all have the exact same tree leading up to them. They need our space future, which is a dead tech that only exists to unlock things. They also need space commerce, which gives you commercial mining companies. These are useful to research. Like, it's useful to get this to add higher tier mining orgs to your pool. It's not honestly all that great, all things considered. Really, what you're going for here is getting up to colony habs and ring habs. The other big thing for your space infrastructure is getting mission to Saturn and mission to the outer planets to increase the number of mines you can have. Even if you're not going out there, just getting this mining increase is fantastic, because it means you can take over more mines and have more space resources, and space resources are how you win the game. Into a slightly more complicated topic, we have Earth development. We're going to start with one of the easiest ones, which is Great Nations. Great Nations, social science, it comes from Unity. It gives you your continent-spanning nations. Like, this is the end state for any given Earth nation building you want to do, minus Caliphate and House of Islam shenanigans, really. But also, you'll need that for the greater versions of several of these nations. Like, you want to play the Earth game, eventually you grab this, you unify a ton of nations together, and now you can really make use of scaling. But how do we get enough to actually merge them in together? This is where white-collar automation comes in. This is, technically, a space focus that gives you some projects for Earth. What you really want is the administration tower. This is a tier 2 building that catapults your CP cap through the stratosphere, because for some reason, its bonus in low Earth orbit is uncapped, unlike everything else in low Earth orbit. You take this, you command all of low Earth orbit. You have an insane amount of ability to control nations on Earth, you have an insane amount of MC, and a bonus resources. It's absolutely nuts. I'm expecting it to get nerfed down to the sensible amount of, you can have 5 of them. But we're waiting for that day to arrive, and until then, it's utterly broken. You should take it and run off into the stratosphere with it. Also useful is Arrival Culture, which gives you more of the techs that passively increase your CP cap, along with giving you some faction projects that are just kind of nice for upgrading your space habs. Now, Tier 3 habs are great. One thing to bear in mind is that be careful about upgrading any module within a hab to Tier 3. Tier 3 habs are great because they give you +8 module slots and you fill them up. Be much more careful with upgrading them. However, let's get to the real important part of mid-game. And that is improving space combat. So, there are a ton of techs here that are all about improving your spaceships and your space combat. Let's start off with a very simple one, which is superconducting magnets. Superconducting magnets gets you the tin droplet radiator. This radiator is the first good radiator you're going to get. You're going to get better ones as the game progresses, but this one is the first one that I consider a real must-have for going into mid-game and late-game. It's small enough to not get hit all the time. It's light enough that you can actually run ships with it. There are other lighter radiators you get later. This is the first really good one. The nanotube one, it's fine, but you want to go up to this as soon as you can. However, that is not the most important thing to go up to as soon as you can. Let's go to Diamondroids. Diamondoids. This is one of the 2 techs that you need for adamantine armor. Adamantine armor is the actual most important upgrade to your ships you can get. This is because this is your mid-game armor, this is your late-game armor, this is your end-game armor. Every armor that is better than adamantine statistically costs you exotics in order to build, which means you shouldn't use it unless you really know what you're doing. So, functionally, this tech, which is Diamondroids and improved shipbuilding techniques, which is the other one you need for it, get you the best armor in the game. I would put this in as a pretty major priority once you start going seriously into shipbuilding. It's honestly that good. It's truly incredible. Continuing on, we have the question of weaponry. We're going to do weaponry before drives because drives are much more complicated. For weaponry, the first one that you really are going to want to care about is... Where are you? Advanced missiles. I'm just going to use the search. Advanced Missile Warfare Doctrine. You will already have everything you need, and it will take your early game ships and turn them into seriously good mid-game ships. And basically everything in here is a strict upgrade to your early missiles and torpedoes. The main 2 that you're looking for are Athena torpedoes and Lancehead missiles, which conveniently enough are both researched by the exact same project. I'm just going to go double check what the name of that one is. Hydrolox, I think it's a Hydrolox Explosive? No. Hydrolox Penetrator? Yeah, there it is. Oh no, that's Lancehead. So Hydrolox Penetrator gets you Lanceheads. I'm trying to remember where Athenas are, but remember Athenas and Lanceheads. Those are your go-to, really good, you can't go wrong with them, missiles and torpedoes. There's also Hestia torpedoes, which are really good but slightly more niche than Athena's, and you need to know what you're doing with them. And there's also all the shaped charge nukes, which, again, are niche, and you need to know what you're doing with them in order to make them good, but they are really good. The other thing is, this is a prerequisite for getting your advanced ECM, which you eventually want to get, which is why I consider Advanced Missile Warfare Doctrine a mandatory tech, even if you're going off of missiles into something else. For other weapons, though, coil guns. Coil guns are important. There is a problem, though, as Coil Gun Mark 1 is not good. You're going to need railguns. Railgun Mark 3 is better than Coil Gun Mark 1. Coil Gun Mark 1 is significantly worse than missiles. In order to get Coil Gun Mark 2, you also need to grab high-temperature superconductors, which is high, not Q. So, you need this and coil guns in order to get improved coil guns, which is the first one that's really recommended. And then there's lasers. We start off with the minimum viable laser, which is the combination of visible combat lasers for green lasers and arc lasers for arc lasers. Green regular lasers are not good. Infrared arc lasers are also not good. You really do not want to be using those. Green arc lasers are the minimum viable laser, even if you know what you're doing, in all honesty. But once you have green, you really want to upgrade them to ultraviolet. The reason for this is that ultraviolet arc lasers are the best lasers you can use that do not cost exotics. You'll notice there's two trees in the laser upgrade. There's color and there's there's color, which is wavelength, and there's fire rate, which is regular, arc, and pulsar. Problem with pulse lasers is the green and UV ones both cost exotics. So going up to UV arc is incredibly powerful. This is a huge power spike. You eventually want to get, where's phasers? Phased array lasers 2. They are both more expensive and also require exotics, which is another project that you need to research. UV arc lasers is really what you want to go for. And now we come to drives. And your mid-game drives is perhaps the most controversial debate in the Terra Invicta community. If you're new, start off by getting advanced fission systems. Advanced fission systems will get you your mid-game and end-game orbital defense drives. They're not necessarily efficient. They will do what you need to do. They also get you access to the Poseidon line, which is the first viable endgame drive, but. And the but is they require pure fizzles to drive. They're not viable unless you get lucky with your mining sites, in terms of actually using them overall. I really like them, but they're a maybe drive. That maybe is you have a lot of fissile income. Where I'm at right now at 60, that's not enough to run the Poseidon drive in any seriousness. You want 100 minimum, really 200 minimum, in order for this line of drives to really be good. But if you have that much fissile production, this line of drives wins the game for you, and it's the cheapest drive that can win the game for you, in terms of research points. The other big drive that I like a lot comes from heavy pulsed propulsion. This is the H. Orion drive. The H. Orion drive is honestly one of the best orbital defense drives in the entire game. You can run this for orbital defense and not care. The problem is it eats into your nobles. Advanced fission systems mostly eat into water, which, if you look at my nobles versus water income, you can see why that might be something you seriously care about. I really like the H. Orion drive. I'm probably going to go for it in my China game, but it's one that you need to be aware that it eats into a pretty scarce resource, and also requires a tech that is a dead end. There is no going into late-game offensive techs off of H. Orion, in terms of drives. If you want to continue with missiles past the mid-game, you eventually need to grab heavy pulse propulsion to go towards your end-game missiles. This is a trade-off you need to consider, what design do you want to do, what do you want to take? It's one that I think is worth it, but there's plenty of other players who are very experienced in the game who don't think it's worth it. So, the last thing in drives in your mid-game, you need to figure out, are you going for fusion or are you going for antimatter? Don't go for these at the same time. Pick one and stick to it. Every fusion line has an endgame viable drive. These are actually the meta where, depending on how fast you want to go through the game, you either go Z-pinch or you go inertial confinement fusion, and you win the game with those. This is the meta. I want to let you know that's the meta. But this doesn't mean antimatter isn't viable. The problem with antimatter versus fusion is that Z-pinch comes online faster than antimatter does and requires no infrastructure to win the game. Antimatter drives will beat out H. Orion for orbital defense in many circumstances, but they have a logistics requirement of building antimatter production facilities. They also, unlike H. Orion, can get you out to the Kuiper Belt and actually win the game for you. And, like, the best antimatter drive is third or fourth best in terms of, like, drives in the entire game. So, like, it's not that antimatter's bad. It's that the other third or fourth best drive comes from a fusion line that comes online faster than antimatter does and has no logistics requirement. However, that line cannot do orbital defense for you. So, mid-game is sort of where you need to make a lot of choices. A very valid choice is to say, I'm ignoring heavy pulse propulsion. I'm not getting Orion and advanced fission systems and going straight to antimatter. And then you have, to do antimatter logistics, but you get an endgame drive out of it. You can also go advanced fission systems for orbital defense, go into Z-pinch, or honestly any other fusion line. Z-pinch is my favorite line, to go into your endgame drive, which costs you a bit more in research points, but means that you don't have that infrastructure requirement that antimatter does have. You can also say, I'm not doing either of these, I'm going to turtle with my fission drives and go straight down the best drive line in the game, which is an inertial confinement fusion. It just takes a long time to get there. And this is why this is the most contentious debate among advanced Terra Invicta players, because all of these are valid choices. Depending on your strategy and what you're doing, some of them become more or less valid. For you new players, the real thing is, get advanced fission. This will get you efficient orbital defense fleets. Then pick one of antimatter or fusion, and within fusion, pick a line of fusion drives to go down, and just go down that hard, and you'll be fine. Like, all of these are valid, all these will win you the game. It is not a question of can they win, it is a question of how quickly can they win. And that's it for our mid-game tech guide. I hope you will enjoy things, and I hope you'll have a lovely weekend, because I'm going to go see the movies pretty soon. And see a fair number of new movies that several friends have recommended. What are those movies? Honestly, I'm running off their recommendations. They bought the tickets. I'm going to go join them. Have a great one, all. See ya.